Hi everyone, it's Kelly here. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time visiting. Welcome back if you've been before. Lovely to have you either way. On this channel we talk books, and today I am recording a book haul, and it is a doozy of a book haul. It was going to be a reasonable sized book haul prior to yesterday. Now it's insane because I treated myself. I decided to go secondhand book shopping and I bought a lot. I bought a lot because I went to 3 different stores and they were all well stocked, and it had been a long time since I've been there. So lots of stock, lots of purchases. It is what it is, and I'm not sorry. But I thought I'd share them here with you. So I'm going to get to the secondhand section of this haul later on in the video. We're going to start with the books that I've bought brand new. So I've got 3 sources of the books that I'm going to show you that are brand new. The first set of books is from a subscription that I have to, I forget the name of the package, but I'll put it up on the screen. But I get them through a diversity sort of focused bookstore called Amplify Bookstore. And this is the 3rd parcel that I've had from them with books from this subscription. And every 2 months you get 2 books. I'm yet to read any of the books that they've sent out, but I have already put one of them onto my one of my challenges, the nonfiction reading challenge, for the remainder of this year. So, and it will go for the 400s prompt. Anyway, we'll talk about that one right now. So we'll start with the nonfiction. It's called An Admirable Point, A Brief History of the Exclamation Mark by Florence Hazrat. And this is a book with the call number 411. So this will do for my 400s prompt in the nonfiction reading challenge. So that's what I'm going to read about. Basically, this is exactly what it sounds like. It's a book about exclamation marks and like the history of them, where they came from, how they're used, etc., etc. So that's this one. And the second book that I got as part of that subscription is this one called Stolen by Ann-Helén Laestadius. Apparently it's a #1 international bestseller, according to the cover. But I don't know too much about this book, so let's discover together. No, not there. Here we go. 9-year-old Elsa lives north of the Arctic Circle. She and her family are Sami, Scandinavia's indigenous people, and make their living herding reindeer. One morning when Elsa goes skiing alone, she witnesses a terrible crime. Elsa recognizes the perpetrator but doesn't dare tell anyone, least of all the Swedish police, about what she saw. Instead, she carries her secret as a dark weight on her heart. 10 years later, and Elsa is fighting 2 wars, one within her community, where male elders expect young women to know their place, and against the ever-escalating wave of prejudice and violence against the Sami. When Elsa finds herself the target of the man she encountered all those years ago, something inside her finally breaks. The guilt, fear, and anger she's been carrying since childhood come crashing over her like an avalanche and will lead Elsa to a final catastrophic confrontation. It sounds like a doozy, but I'm here for it. It sounds amazing. So those are the 2 books from Amplify Bookstore. They also sent this cute little 2 of these actually. Cute little bookmarks. There's their details if you'd like to find out more about the packages. You also get an artifact, if you will, which is sort of, usually it's to do with the region of the world that is the focus of that 2 months worth of books, but it was Europe this time around and the item is African. So anyway, this is what I got. It's this wooden, this is made of wood. It's a spoon. Cute little guy on the top. And this is the gift this round is from Culture Garage. Each piece was handcrafted in Kenya and is made from rosewood. And they're based in Victoria in Australia. So that came with the spoon. So not the matching region, but cute nonetheless. Let me put that in a safe place so that I don't lose it. Okay, this was just a random book that I purchased online, and it is called, ooh, can't see that, Frostheart by Jamie Littler. This is one I've had on my wish list for a while, and it was a good price, so I just decided to pick it up. So yeah, this is the first in a series, I believe, and it says, far out in the coldest part of the monster-infested snow sea, Ash waits for his missing parents with only his grumpy Yeti guardian for company. But when an accident reveals that Ash has amazing magical powers, he's whisked aboard the Frostheart, an explorer sleigh with a daring crew who need his help. Can they help Ash master his new powers and find his family? So, sounds very sweet. Okay, the next, and this is the rest of the new books that I got in this book haul, all came from a store called The Book Grocer. It's a sort of reduced price bookseller. I think they sell kind of like seconds and all of that sort of thing, but they're all like brand new books, just at much cheaper rates. So most of these books only cost me like $5 to $10, sort of in that region. So much cheaper than what they would normally retail for. So this is what I got from that haul. The first one is called Hild by Nicola Griffith. This is, I think it might be, I don't know if it's YA or not. It just says fiction on the back, so I'm not really sure. But it was the winner of the Washington State Book Award for Fiction, a finalist for the Nebula Award for Best Novel, a finalist for the Lambda? Is that a D or an O? D? Lambda Literary Award, and a Seattle Times Best Book of the Year. So it says, in 7th century Britain, a new religion is coming ashore and small kingdoms are merging frequently and violently. Hild is the king's youngest niece with a glittering mind and a natural authority. And then it's sort of just kind of covering her life. But we love a fiery protagonist, a fiery woman protagonist coming into her own. So that should be a good one. This is a book that I spoke about on my 100s video that I did, which I'll link up in the cards. And it was the one that I showed you was a library copy, and I've now purchased my own copy because it was a good price. It's called Be My Guest by Priya Basil, Reflections on Food, Community and the Meaning of Generosity. So this is a non-fiction book. The call number is 177.1, and I'm going to be reading this one for my 100s prompt now because I've got myself a copy. Then I've got this one, The Last Bear by Hannah Gould, illustrated by Levi Pinfold. This is a middle grade, I want to say. There are no polar bears left on Bear Island. That's what April's father tells her when his research takes them to an Arctic outpost for 6 months. But one night, April catches a glimpse of something distinctly bear-shaped loping across the horizon. A polar bear who shouldn't be here, who is hungry, lonely, and a long way from home. A bear who is missing something, just like April. As their unlikely bond grows, April is determined to save her new friend, and so begins the most important journey of her life. So that just sounds amazing to me. This is one that I've heard a lot about. It's called Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. And I believe this one is set where there's a crew of who are filming a film or TV show maybe about something that happened in the early 1900s, but they're filming on like basically where it happened, exactly in the, you know, in a school, in the grounds of a school. And then it's sort of like this kind of grisly death situation that is, I believe, mirroring what happened in the past. So yeah, it's should be a good one, although I did not realize it was this thick. So I don't know when I'm going to get to this one. We'll see. We'll see how we do. Another one that I picked up, and this was an author by, because I've heard good things about this author, Leïla Slimani. This is called The Country of Others, translated by Sam Taylor. So yeah, I don't actually know much about the plot of the book, but it is set in 1944. Mathilde finds herself falling deeply in love with Amin Belhaj, a Moroccan soldier billeted in her town fighting for the French. After the liberation, Mathilde leaves her country to follow her new husband to Morocco, but life here is unrecognisable to this brave and passionate young woman. Suffocated by the heat of the Moroccan climate, by her loneliness on the farm, by the mistrust she inspires as a foreigner, and by their lack of money, Mathilde grows restless. as violence threatens and Morocco's own struggle for independence grows daily, Mathilde and Amin's refusal to take sides see them and their family at odds with their own desire for freedom. How can Mathilde, a woman whose life is dominated by the decisions of men, hold her family together in a world that is being torn apart? Doozy. Another one that I've heard quite a lot about is Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino. I've heard lots of people recommending this one. The call number for this is 814. And this is a non-fiction book about what happens to our behavior when we live mostly online. What does it mean to always be optimizing, and what is it about scams and the millennial generation? Offering nuanced and witty reflections on feminism, reality TV, the internet, drugs, identity, and more, Trick Mirror is a multifaceted, thought-provoking, and entertaining response to our zeitgeist. A must-read for anyone interested in the way we live and think today. And the last one that I picked up from the Book Grocer is Consent, a Memoir by Vanessa Springora. This is... so this is non-fiction also, 362.76. Awkward, reclusive, and already smitten with the written word, 13-year-old Vanessa meets G at a dinner party, boasting some of France's biggest authors. G, a critically acclaimed writer, is a romantic with a brilliant mind. The attraction is immediate and mutual. G is 50 years old. This is not a love story. 30 years later, Vanessa looks to reassess her past with the man who shaped the arc of her adolescence, having kept G's dark secrets for decades. She is now determined to have the last word. Consent is at once a scathing testimony against the culture of complicity, an intimate reflection on the toll of trauma, and a beautifully rendered journey towards healing. So that sounds like a very important book to read. Okay, so now we move into the second-hand portion of this video. So I decided to take myself on a second-hand book shopping spree yesterday, where I visited 3 different thrift stores, I guess you would call them. 2 of them were Vinnie's, for those of you in Australia and you know what I'm talking about, and the other one was a Lifeline, and they were all sort of in the vicinity of where I live, so I sort of just drove around to a couple of different places. So let me show you what I picked up. So many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 books. Okay, the first one is Saga Land by Richard Fidler and Kári Gíslason, The Island of Stories at the Edge of the World. Now, this one, I did not look this up beforehand. Oh, it's non-fiction. I should have checked. I'll put it up on the screen what the call number is, and it'll all be down below as well. But yeah, I heard about this one. Who was I watching? If I think of who it was, I will put it up in the cards for you and up on the screen, and link, so I can link to their video, who was talking about this book and was finding it really fascinating to read. So Richard Fidler is a broadcaster here in Australia, quite well known, has been around for years and years, and author Kári Gíslason, I'm not sure how you say this guy, are good friends. They share a deep attachment to the sagas of Iceland, the true stories of the first Viking families who settled on that remote island in the Middle Ages. These are the tales of blood feuds, of dangerous women, and people who are compelled to kill the ones they love the most. The sagas are among the greatest stories ever written, but the identity of their authors is largely unknown. Together, Richard and Kári travel across Iceland to the places where the sagas unfolded 1,000 years ago. They cross fields, streams, and fjords to immerse themselves in the folklore of this fiercely beautiful island. And there is another mission: to resolve a long-standing family mystery, a gift from Kári's Icelandic father that might connect Kári to the greatest of the saga authors. So, sounds really interesting. It's a thick one, but I think I would really get into this. So, I'm hopeful that I'll get to that one. Another one, I think all the rest are fiction. I think potentially there's one here that might be non-fiction, but we'll see. Okay, this one is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I don't read a whole lot of romance. I do occasionally pick it up, but I've heard lots of really good things about this one, so I saw it there and thought I'd grab it. So that was for $3 was worthwhile for me. So yeah, happy to have this one now in my collection. So I'm ready whenever the mood strikes to read a romance book. This one is by Richard Flanagan, called Gould's Book of Fish, a novel in 12 fish. So this one just sounded really, really interesting. And I've never read any Richard Flanagan, but he has won prizes and he has been recommended to me directly by several people. So I would like to be a Richard Flanagan reader. It's something I would like to cultivate within myself. So I saw this one and I picked it up because I would like to. I already own several of his books and haven't read them. So maybe this will be the one. The cover is delightful. So yeah, maybe this will be the first one. We'll see. 2002. It's been around for a while. Okay, then I'm going to show you these two together because they're part of a series. So I've got The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue and The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy, which is the follow-up to this one. I believe this one came first. So my understanding is that these are YA, but I might not be correct about that. Essentially, I also think that it might be queer. So yeah, I think it's queer YA. And I suspect this is also queer YA. So let me know if you've read these. I would like to know if you have enjoyed them. I've just heard that they're good. This is on my wish list currently, which I'll have to remember to take it off my wish list. And because it was recommended to me somewhere and I put it on my wish list. So that's why I picked it up, because it was on my wish list. And then this one was there with it. So I thought I might as well get them both because they were both $4 each. So not too bad. So yeah, let me know if you think I need to prioritize those, because I've had them on my wish list for a while and I can't remember who recommended them to me. The next one that I picked up was Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Tales from the Cafe. I haven't read the original, but I own the original. So I thought I'd pick this one up because it was a good price. I think this is the second one. Yeah, this is the second one. So I think it's just like more of the same is my understanding of that one. Now, this is one of the ones that I thought might be non-fiction. It's called Adult Fantasy by Bryony Doyle. I read a fiction book by Bryony Doyle last year because it was longlisted for the Miles Franklin, I think. And I quite enjoyed it. I thought she wrote really, really well. Yeah, this looks like it's non-fiction. It doesn't specifically say. But yeah, this is about her. So yeah, it's non-fiction. Searching for true maturity in an age of mortgages, marriages, and other adult milestones. So I'll have a look and I will pop the call number up on the screen for you as well for this one. So basically, Bryony Doyle turned 30 without a clear idea of what her adult life should look like. The world she lived in, with its global economic uncertainty, political conservatism, and precarious employment conditions, didn't match the one her parents grew up in. Every day she read editorials about how her millennial cohort, dubbed the Peter Pan generation, were reluctant to embrace the traditional markers of adulthood: a stable job, a house in the suburbs, a nuclear family. But do these emblems of maturity mean the same thing today as they did 30 years ago? In a smart and spirited inquiry, Doyle examines whether millennials are redefining what it means to be an adult today. Blending personal essay and cultural critique, she ventures into the big claims of philosophy and the neon buzz of pop culture to ask, in a rapidly changing world, do the so-called adult milestones distract us from other measures of maturity? So, sounds very interesting. Then I've got two books here by the same author, who is an author I've heard lots of really good things about, so I felt confident to pick both of these up. So one is the one that everybody talks about. It's Becky Chambers is the author, and the book is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. Some people in a book club that I am part of, or a group that I'm part of on Discord, read this together. I didn't quite get there to read it myself, but there was general consensus that it was pretty amazing. So I am keen to get to this at some point. And then I don't know if this is the sequel, Record of a Spaceborne Few by Becky Chambers. It's annoying that they're not the same size. So one's the small and one's the largest kind of format. Does it specifically say? No, there's a second one. So this must be the third one. There's another one called A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. So I'm guessing that this is book 3. Anyway, picked them both up. So yeah, I will at some point get to those ones. I better move that pile. It looks like it's about to fall. Okay, the next one is a book that came out last year called The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth, A Marriage to Die For. This one just sounded really interesting. Gabe is alone at the cliff's edge. His arms are outstretched, palms facing the empty air. He said she jumped. He wouldn't lie. Before the woman went over the cliff, Pippa and Gabe were happy. They had the kind of marriage that everyone envies, as well as 2 sweet young daughters, a supportive family, and a picturesque cliffside home, which would have been idyllic had the tall beachside cliffs not become so popular among those wishing to end their lives. Gabe has become somewhat of a local hero since they moved to the cliff house, talking 7 people down from stepping off the edge. But when Gabe fails to save the 8th, a sordid web of secrets begins to unravel, pushing bonds of loyalty and love to the brink. What wouldn't you do for your soulmate? So it just sounded like an interesting mystery. This one is called War Paint by Alicia Foster. I don't know anything about this, but it just looked fascinating to me. And it's set in England, 1942, and it says, in a Gothic villa deep in the woods near Bletchley Park, the Black team use intelligence to make propaganda designed to demoralise the enemy. For Vivian Taya, employed as an artist in the villa, the war has worked out well so far. She has an indulgent husband and a new lover. And while the government quibbles over what cannot be shown officially at the villa, there are no such restrictions. But where does the subterfuge end? Meanwhile, on the home front, 3 women painters, Laura Knight, Faith Farr and Cecily Brown, have been tasked by the War Artists Advisory Committee with recording wartime life, brightening the existence of a public starved of culture, and summoning up the bulldog spirit in their art. Together they must battle with the men in power, including Churchill himself, to control the stories that can be told. As the course of the war turns and the lives of both groups collide, each woman must ask herself what can be revealed and what must be concealed, even from those closest to them. The next one is by an author who I only really know as a children's book author, and that is Davina Bell. The book is called The End of the World is Bigger Than Love, and this is literally an author by because I have loved her children's books, so I'm hoping that her adult fiction is also really good. So this is about identical twin sisters, Summer and Winter. Why would you do that? Why would you do that to your kids? Call them Summer and Winter. Oh, don't. If you have twins, please don't do that. Just give them names. Don't give them pair names. Anyway, sorry. Let's come back. Identical twin sisters Summer and Winter live alone on a remote island, sheltered from the fallout of a mysterious event that has laid waste to the rest of the world. They survive on rations stockpiled by their father and spend their days reading and rereading their mother's collection of classic literature, until the arrival of a mysterious stranger upends their carefully constructed reality. At first, Edward is a welcome distraction, but who is he really? And why has he come? As love blooms and the world stops spinning, the secrets of the girl's past begin to unravel, and escape is the only option. The next one that I picked up is Anxious People by Frederick Backman. I know a lot of people love this author and this book specifically, so I'm excited to get to that one. I won't do the synopsis because this is pretty well known. And then I picked up, now I actually don't know if I already have this. Maybe I do, because I know I picked up a book by Jennifer Down recently and hauled it, so I'll have to double check and see whether I already have a copy of it or not. But this one's called Our Magic Hour by Jennifer Down, and it has a fabulous cover. So Jennifer Down wrote a book that I really loved last year that was the winner of the Miles Franklin Award, and so this is an author by as well. Audrey, Katie and Adam have been friends since high school, a decade of sneaky cigarettes, drunken misadventures on Melbourne backstreets, heart-to-hearts, in-jokes. But now Katie has gone, and without her, Audrey is thrown off balance. Everything she thought she knew, everything she believed was true, is bent out of shape. Evocative and exquisitely written, which, if it's anything like the other one that I read last year that I really loved, can vouch for. Our Magic Hour is a story of love, loss, and discovery. Jennifer Downes' remarkable debut novel captures that moment when being young and invincible gives way to being open and vulnerable, when one terrible act changes a life forever. So those were my books from my big secondhand shop yesterday. But I also have a couple of graphic novels that I picked up. My library was having, or a library that I go to, was having a sale of books, as in books they were getting rid of that they have taken out of circulation. So let me show you. I got 5 graphic novels as part of that. So the first one is called Madame Xanadu. They all have this. I don't know that it necessarily means that they're sexy. It just is to indicate that they're not for children. So this is called Extrasensory, although I can, from the front of it, it does look quite sexy. Published by Vertigo, I believe. So I don't know too much about this one, but we've got 1963, New York City. Change permeates the air as the counterculture movement begins to take shape, and behind the dusty curtains of a Lower East Side storefront, the clairvoyant Madame Xanadu becomes an advisor to 5 ordinary people who find themselves plagued with the extraordinary and extraordinarily terrifying abilities that involve the 5 primary senses: see, hear, smell, touch, taste. So that's that one. Then I got 2 by the same author. And that author is called Farrell Dalrymple. So the first one's called Proxima Centauri, and the other one that I got by the same author is It Will All Hurt, which looks like this. These are, I picked up really just because of the art, so I won't go into the synopsis of them, but if you've read either of these and you think they're worthwhile adding early on in my TBR, please let me know. This one is called, they're sticking together. This one is called The Family Trade. Justin Jordan, Nikki Ryan, Morgan Beam, and Rachel Deering. Which looks like this. In a world where alchemy exists and history didn't quite go the way that it did here, there is the Float, formerly the Free Republic of Thessalia, an ocean-born city that's at the centre of business and commerce. And on the Float is the Family, a sprawling network of thieves, conmen, and assassins with one goal: make sure the float keeps floating. Jessa Wynn, their youngest member, is about to learn just how dirty a job it is when she finds herself in the middle of a plot that threatens the stability of the float. Jessa is going to need her wits, her will, and a whole lot of cats if she's going to save the float and her family. That's one of the cats right there. And then the last one that I picked up is this one called Sentient by Jeff Lemire, and Gabriel Walter, which looks like this. Welcome to the USS Montgomery. When a separatist attack kills every adult on board a colony ship in deep space, it is up to Valerie, the onboard AI, to help the ship's children survive. But as they are pursued by dangerous forces, can Valerie become more than what she was programmed to be, a savior to these children? So yeah, that was a good little haul at the library when I just happened to be going there to drop off some books that needed returning. So I was happy to find that they had a sale on that day. All right, that is my book haul. As you can see, there were lots and lots of books to haul this month. But yeah, I hope that you enjoy watching these book hauls where I show you books that I'm acquiring. I really need to do an unhaul pretty soon because I'm bringing so many books into the house and I just don't have anywhere to put them. It's chaotic. So we definitely need to do that sometime soon. Maybe a bit of a reorganization. Let me know if you'd like to see a video of me or reorganizing my shelves. And we'll see what we can do. I don't know if I want to record that or not. It's a bit chaotic in this house. All right, so that is my haul, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.